Hello, I'm C-Stick and I'm talking at the internet. So today's video was meant to be filmed outside, but then it started raining and blowing and everything was horrible. I might just change the venue mid the video. Well, today's video is gonna be about my guitar journey, like guitar shape, guitar style, in like the cosmetic sense, the different kinds of guitars that I have been playing, which I don't do too much now. It has been from when I was 10 to about 27 years old was the time that I was playing, actually 13 to 27, I would say. After that, I started playing the Chapman stick and I kind of focused in on it. So I still play guitar, but not as much. This whole thing is brought on by Fender's latest lawsuit extravaganza. It had me thinking about guitar shapes and what makes them special and so on. My view might not be very popular. We'll see. I think that the guitar shapes that we hold most dear, being Strat, Tele, Les Paul, SG, and then we have all the others following, but I think we're giving them a bit too much power. I mean, I get that it's cultural and there has been a lot of history behind this, but there is this tendency of people thinking that the evolution of something, let's talk about like humans. They say like humans as we are like the peak of evolution and that it was always going to get to us, which is a weird way to think about it. And I do believe that that is just wrong. We are a result of things that has been far beyond any control. Who survived, what catastrophe, what food was available, how did the species evolve, react to those changes, and so on. Pretty much the same thing, but condensed into a very much shorter period of time, I think is true for guitar shapes, guitar body shapes and designs overall. Sure, the Strat is an awesome body, very comfortable and looks cool, but there are a lot of pieces to that puzzle beyond just a smart guy made a shape and a design that worked, and it has worked ever since. For all that we know, something could have gone wrong, and we would have had a totally different view of what an actual guitar is supposed to look like. Going into that, I have already been rambling a bit. Probably gonna cut it all out. I wanna start with my journey, my own view upon all this. Maybe it will make more sense. Promised myself to make one of these every month. So yeah. Yeah, okay, starting off. Les Paul shape was actually the guitar, the electric guitar for me when I was growing up, because that was what my dad played, what he had at home. It wasn't a Gibson Les Paul, it was like some Japanese copy, some like Aria. It's a really nice guitar and he still has it, and it's old, and he bought it for like, let's say just $50 up in the very north of Sweden when he was young, and that's just an excellent guitar. I didn't play much when I was small, but there's a cute photo of me holding that guitar, and I might just find it and put it here. Point was with that, it was displayed and it was like played where I was when I was small, so that was what I thought of when I thought electric guitar or even guitar, kind of. Yeah. And of course, I saw like Gene Simmons and well, he played bass, but yeah, you know, Kiss on TV and stuff like that. The Les Paul shape was what I thought of when I thought guitar. Fine. So when I was 10, I started playing acoustic guitar. I didn't find it very fun. I didn't really start playing until I was 13 years old, and then what I was listening to and so on steered me towards a super Strat. So yeah, kind of a Strat, but you know, humbucker, bit pointier, more like it was an RG, Geo, or what do you call it? More like to the heavier type of music. Some years later, that got upgraded to another RG model that had a cooler pickguard, and hopefully I can find pictures and put them here so you understand what I'm jabbling about. Yeah, this was inspired from the kind of music I was listening to, which was like heavy metal, a lot of, the Ibanez Shred Squad, Paul Gilbert, and those guys. So that was what I was inspired by, and that was what I was trying to emulate best I could. So back then, I actually loved sitting in class drawing guitars and stuff, even though the Super Strat was what I played because it was like available. I had all these ideas of like pointy guitars, and like actually the SG was already something that I was thinking about a lot. My guitar teacher was like, yeah, just if you get one of those, think about that they can be like heavy in the head. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. I wasn't even gonna get one of those because stuff is expensive and I already had a guitar, so yeah, I was happy. But yeah, I doodled a whole lot of guitars before I knew anything about specs, what stuff do, and yeah, I couldn't really doodle that good either. So years later, studying at what we in Sweden call gymnasium, I played a PRS Torero. It was an SE guitar. Really awesome guitar. Still like PRS style Super Strat. Don't know if you can call it a Super Strat anymore, but it's in the same genre. It had this Floyd Rose, which I loved. I had the Edge something blah blah tremolo on the RG that I had owned earlier too. Really cool. Could do like dive bombs and shit. Excellent. A lot to learn in how to set up and so on. I didn't really get good at that until almost the day that I sold the guitar, but it served me well, and EMG 81, 85's in it. So it sounded good too. Didn't own like an amp, a real amp, like, well, yeah, I think there was some digital amp I had, but it was what it was, and mostly if you ever played out somewhere, often a school thing, that's when you got to plug it in to something real, and that was pretty cool. So moving on, I did the gymnasium thing and moved on to folkhögskola, where I felt I needed something a bit more mature. We did auditions to get in. When I got into that like sphere, I felt that there was this disconnect between my guitar that was in my eyes kind of like a shred machine, and the music that was being taught and played and performed at that school. It was like pop songs, and during like winter time we went out to play like Christmas music, stuff like that. So since I wasn't really a super shredder, I felt like I needed something a bit more subdued, and my guitar teacher at that place, I don't know if he recommended it or if I was like, I think I want to buy a tele. I think he said that, yeah, that's a good choice. Not much can go wrong with that, and so on and so on. So I went for it. I got myself a red tele and started to fill in a whole lot of fundamentals that I had skipped on in my earlier playing. And to be honest, I think I would have needed like maybe 2 more years at a place like that to actually like solidify and stuff, because I did become a whole lot better of a player during my time there. I'm gonna show you that guitar because I still have it. Yeah. Okay, so here is said guitar, and I am gonna stop the video for now. There will be a part 2. I will be talking about this one and the evolution it has had, because I started to mod guitars a whole lot, and there will be more guitars. One thing I wanted to say with all this was that everything is kind of relative to what we have learned. A whole lot of what we appreciate in guitars is aesthetics, and what those aesthetics do to us and what we think they mean and they represent. A bit more on that later. Subscribe and like, and kram på dig!